Hi guys, Dr. Wade here, and we are talking about number one. I need to do more videos. I've been getting a lot of that lately, and so many questions about the ketogenic diet, carnivore, fasting strategies, and what's made this is the year end 2018, and what I've really enjoyed is just the interaction with so many just people looking to improve their health, really reaching beyond mainstream practices, which for those of us in the know will tell you if you want to be like everyone else, go mainstream. Do the mainstream results. Do the mainstream diet. Go and do your Nutrisystem. Go do your Weight Watchers and go do your all these other things. Basically scams. I'll come right out and say it. Basically scams to take your money and for you to stay addicted to food and to go low calorie, lose muscle along with losing weight, only to gain it all back, right? The yo-yo effect. Can't get away from carbohydrates. I just can't go without carbs. Gotta have my vegetables. Gotta have whatever. Let's talk about that. If you want mainstream results, be like everybody else. And over the last 30, 40 years, we've been severely obese with increasing levels of autoimmune disorders, metabolic problems, neurodegenerative diseases, digestive issues, chronic digestive issues. I mean, come on. What's wrong? It's not our genetics, right? No, it's not. It's our food source. And it's not you. It's not your fault. No. I mean, we're designed, genetically programmed to eat everything in sight, for periods of starvation and scarcity. That's where vegetation comes in, by the way. We're not meant to thrive on vegetation. No. Does that make sense at all? Do you think our ancestors walked around foraging like gorillas and apes? No, our stomachs are not designed for that. Our pH levels are designed to digest meat. That's what part of what distinguishes us from our ape colleagues down the road. I've seen so many arguments this year about a lot of vegans chiming in, vegetarians, people who are just ivory tower folks who sit there and read but don't experience things in practice. Just so you'll know, my approach, I have a personal approach, right? But I don't necessarily push that on other people like a vegan will. No. I'm not trying to do that. I try to find ways when I'm helping someone achieve optimum human health. They're different than anyone else, only in respects of their history and their diet, right? Their behavior. Genetics, you're not born with disease. You're not born to get a disease. You may have a genetic predisposition, but you have to trigger. If you look up the word epigenetics, you'll learn more about that. But if you have to trigger that to happen, heart disease, diabetes, stroke, all the things cancer, all the things that people are dying from. Even the Surgeon General, C. Everett Koop, said, 90% of our deaths, premature deaths, are related to diet, right? And he was ahead of his time when he said that, because yes, you can change your life, you can change your health, you can change your fitness even with diet first. You are what you eat, after all, right? And again, this past year has been just fantastic in terms of people reaching out and wanting to do more. They know now the truth is out. You can't keep doing the same thing and expecting different results. You can't keep trying all these fad diets, and carnivoreness is not a fad diet. I must tell you that just right off the bat. Ketogenic dieting is not necessarily a fad either. It's people finally just, if you look over here and you see what everybody else is doing, the principle is go over here and do something else, right? It's working. And I just recently saw one of the news shows that said, of all the diets, the two worst diets to try in 2019 are the ketogenic diet and the carnivore diet. And of course, one thing they'll say is there's no long-term studies that show their effectiveness, or there could be some problems and we wouldn't know. I suggest that you look at our evolution, our evolutionary biology. Our species thrived early on a primarily meat-based diet. We were hunter-gatherers. We did not thrive on vegetation. We learned how to acquire vegetation about 10,000 years ago when it started to become more prevalent after the Ice Age, if you will, and then vegetation started to show up. But I mean, what did we do when there was no vegetation? You know what we did. We hunted and we ate fatty meats, big fauna. This is not neuroscience. We don't need science to prove that something works or not. We need ourselves. We need common sense. And just so you'll know right now, you know the rule that you can only live 3 days without water and 3 weeks without food. That is nonsense, people. I've been part of a group now, a fasting group. That, I mean, there are people that are fasting that fast for 30 days. I mean, you've heard that Jesus fasted 40 days and 40 nights. I'm pretty sure that's pretty darn accurate. And you know what? I bet he didn't lose an ounce of muscle, because true fasting, you will not lose muscle. It triggers your body to actually use the food that it has been storing, that you put in your bank. It's called fat. It has everything you need. God did a wonderful job when he designed our bodies. So this thing about you always have to eat 6 meals a day, 3 meals a day, 3 meals a day, what came from Europe, and the 6 meal a day thing came from all the trainers. These small meals, you're going to eat only 1,100 calories in a day, which is going to put you in a caloric deficit. Well, you just go right ahead and do that. Good luck, because everybody's been trying it for decades now, and everybody loses weight, and they lose their muscle along with it, and then they gain it right back. It's insane. It doesn't work. So what works? Well, I'm here to tell you that there's a lot of things that work out there, but if you just get back to the basics of what worked before we got all fat, bloated, and had all these chronic degenerative issues, fasting, not eating, your body will take care of things. Unless your body fat is severely under what it should normally be, like if it's under 4%, and of course if you have an eating disorder, I don't recommend fasting. No. But when you leave your body alone, it does some amazing things. Number one, your growth hormone levels go up, right? Your adrenaline levels go up. You're not going to lose any muscle. It's very muscle sparing. So the principle there is, like, if you have fat to lose, quit eating, right? I mean, a lot of my colleagues are afraid to say that. They want to give you some kind of a diet. They want to control you, and you got to pay them, right? I'm just going to tell you to quit eating. I mean, you have fat on your body. That's your food right there. I mean, it's a basic principle. I know that sounds crazy, and I know you're probably going to go, oh, no, I have to eat. If I don't eat, in every 2 hours, I'll get sick. I'll get headaches, and my blood sugar drops. I know, I've heard it all. You're not going to die. Sorry. So, of course, consult your physician prior to making any dietary change. They may not be trained in this. Many people are not. I'm a doctor of physical therapy. I was not trained in this. I had to reach outside of my normal traditional training to get this knowledge and information. In 2005, I started doing that when I went back to get my doctorate. And my emphasis was in nutrition and obesity management. And what I found was startling, that exercise does not work for fat loss. It doesn't. Diet does. You got diet, exercise. Exercise is great. My whole profession is based on it. Okay? But what's the best thing for fat loss? Well, you have to trigger your body to lose fat. How do you do that? Quit eating. It's really simple, but not necessarily easy, right? Because carbohydrates will do 3 things to you. If you're eating carbs, you will be hungry at least 2 hours later. It's going to keep you hungry. You're going to stash water. Yep. For every gram of carbohydrates you eat, you're going to store at least 3 grams of water. So there's your water weight, your bloat. Okay? A lot of vegetables have a lot of water, a lot of fiber that go through you. Okay? And then it's going to spike your insulin. So it's going to make you hungry. It's going to stash water. It's going to spike your insulin. What does spiked insulin do? It's impossible to lose fat when your insulin is spiked. You're not going to lose any fat. So what makes those 3 things happen? Carbohydrate. Now also, if you eat a big meal, your insulin's going to go up. Insulin is normal, but you don't want it elevated. It's all about keeping your insulin low. That's the theme of 2019. Keep your insulin low. How? Quit eating. And when you do eat very low carb, if not no carb. My personal preference, what I do for me, what works for me, and what I've helped many others, over hundreds now, do, is eat more of a carnivorous diet. Very similar to what our biology, our ancestors were doing back before agriculture. And our genetics are the same. I know we have a modern day now, but that does not mean our genetics have all of a sudden changed to where we can eat processed foods. We cannot. We can, if we choose. We can eat processed foods. We can eat vegetable oils. We can eat fake foods such as margarine. We can eat sugar. We can eat the grains, which are basically all GMO now. We can do those things. And our body goes, hey, I'll use something from it, but it's going to cause some other damage too, as we know now. Okay, we know grains are related to so many chronic disorders. The book by Dr. Perlmutter, that the second edition is coming out now, A Grain Brain, which I love, basically says, hey, if you eat grains, well, then yes, you're going to have chronic neurodegenerative diseases, or you'll be very prone to that, if not at all, if not, basically causing that. So yes, Alzheimer's, dementia. Okay, they're calling Alzheimer's type 3 diabetes now. So anytime your insulin is up, bad things happen, people. So how do you keep your insulin down? Quit eating. Now, should you eat lesser calories during the day? Again, what did I just say about that? If you starve yourself, if you're eating too little during the day, if you're eating food and it's not enough to sustain you, well then yes, you're going to lose muscle when you do lose weight. There's a difference between starvation and fasting. Okay? Starvation is when you're eating small meals and you're not eating enough. But a true fast is when you don't put anything. Of course, you have two different types of fast. You got a dry fast and a liquid fast, right? Okay. And a dry fast is basically no food, no liquid, no water. There's a hard dry fast, which is no contact with water at all. No shower. Don't even brush your teeth. A lot of people think that's gross, but I'm telling you, when you get rid of all the junk in you, you don't smell. In fact, your breath doesn't smell. You don't have bad breath. Your teeth get really strong. They get very bright. Yeah. Interesting things happen. Dry fasting is how you heal things. I'm just, as of today, coming off a 3-day, 72-hour dry fast. I tracked my weight. My weight was 159 going in, and it was 151 as of this morning. Now, I refed, of course, and I didn't overdo it. I'm still nursing a little drink here, a very rich yet low carb drink. And I went 3 days without water or food, and I'm fine. Haven't you heard the rule of threes? You can't survive, 3 days without water, or 3 weeks without food. Baloney. Like I said, we have people fasting 30 days with no water. No food. They're doing liquid fast. Sometimes they'll throw in a little dry fast. But dry fast is basically used for healing and autophagy. If you're familiar with autophagy, that is a fascinating subject where we've always known fasting works to help heal just about everything, right? But how does it do it? Well, the Nobel Prize in Science was issued to the man who, I don't want to say discovered, but uncovered that effect called autophagy. Autophagy meaning eating oneself. It doesn't eat you. It's getting rid of precancerous cells, cancer cells. And so that's why fasting is now being integrated so much into cancer treatment. In fact, there are some people who opt out of chemo and radiation altogether and just go aggressive on the fasting and very light on the refeeds. How long can you fast? How long can you dry fast? Most people that are dry fasting now dry fast somewhere between 5 and 7 days for aggressive issues they're trying to heal. For weight loss, most people are liquid fasting anywhere between 3 days and 3 weeks. However long you can go until you feel like I need to eat. Are you going to feel bad initially? It depends on your status going in. Yes, if you are very unhealthy going in, if you've been eating a lot of crap all your life, and you've been living hard and you're carved up, yeah, you're going to feel like crap. You're addicted to food. Breaking any addiction is hard. Coffee, anything that you eat that's addicting can't be all that good for you, right? We all know coffee's supposed to be more good than bad for you. I've preached that for years, but I've kind of changed my tune on that because, again, it's addictive. So, yes, I've been on coffee since age 18, and I'm off coffee now, but I drink it on the weekends, and it's easy to do, and I don't get headaches anymore. And the reason I drink it on the weekends is because I am a social fasting carnivore, if you will. Another thing, as we're going into 2019, whenever you watch this video, as you move forward in your progress, as you learn more about the various diets and what you want to do, we mentioned. Let's see. I mentioned fasting. Let's see what else. Shoot! I should have written this down. I don't want to ramble. I don't want to waste your time, but ketogenic dieting, I think, is probably one of the better ways for people who are foodies, who just aren't ready to take that step on getting rid of everything. A lot of people think carnivore dieting is very restrictive, and it doesn't have to be. You don't have to be strict on anything, really. I want you to think about the principle of hormesis. If you don't know what that means, that's basically allowing yourself to be hit or touched, or I call it playing in the dirt. When we were kids, we used to play in the dirt, right? And we probably got Clostridium and all kinds of bacteria, and we ate dirt, and that we got tons of toxins. And so we probably were around lead paint, asbestos, and everything else, but we didn't live in it. I didn't eat dirt, nonstop. But I think I'm of that last generation that was kind of, I don't want to say tough, but my kids didn't play in the dirt as much as I did, and they're already having issues that I didn't start experiencing until I was in my 30s and 40s. They're starting to have them in their 20s. Their immune systems just aren't as strong. Hormesis means when you're exposed to a minute amount of toxins every now and then. Again, that's good for our immunity, right? Our bodies then say, hey, what's that? And it builds up an immune response. Our immune system is incredibly intelligent. So to do anything strict, even carnivore, just strict carnivore, pretty much eliminates or it limits your ability to have a stronger immune system simply because of the principle of hormesis. So that's why I will allow every now and then I will eat an almond flour treat that my keto daughter made, and I will eat a vegetable plate that a relative brings over and says, I made this just for you. I'm not going to be all, I'm sorry, I'm a carnivore, I only eat meat. No. When I go out with friends, I go for the meat stuff. And if they're like, hey, Baskin, come on, let's do this, cheers, I'm not going to turn that down, okay? I'm healthier than I ever was. I feel just as good as when I did in my late 20s before I started getting all the inflammatory issues from eating too many vegetables and nightshades and whatnot. And finally figured it out by the time I was just over 35. And then I've been preaching it ever since. So strictness, you can be strict as you want. If you have an OCD thing going on, and I've dealt with many of you guys, I can't tell you to take it easy because you're not. You're going to be like, okay, I got to do this like this, and you're going to chop it into this, that, and the other, and you're going to make it as structured as, a Rubik's Cube. We're going to have it just like this right here. Perfect. That's the way I want it. Okay. I'm not like that. My diet is 97 to 99% carnivorous. It is ketogenic. I do check my ketones every now and then just to show people, I stay somewhere between 0.5 and 1.2, right in there. I've been doing this now since 2016, and all of my blood tests that I've ever done, especially when I was re-upping for life insurance, I qualify for the elite life insurance. All my blood work is great. If I have a problem, I fix it with fasting. I don't fast all the time. I shouldn't say I believe in fasting because I don't like when people say, I believe in that. It's nothing to believe in. It just works. It's whether you decide to use the strategy or not. Many of the carnivore dieters eat twice a day, so they're fasting usually around 16 hours. Okay? Some people only eat one time a day. Some people call that OMAD, right? One meal a day. And they're fasting around 20 hours. Or some people call that warrior fasting. You got a 4-hour eating window and you got 20 hours where you eat. 20 hours where you fast. And there's so many different ways you can approach fixing your body. But the bottom line is, if you have extra fat on it, consider it food. You don't have to eat as much as you think you do. I don't agree with multiple meals a day. No. It doesn't work. You can lose weight, but you lose muscle along with that. Again, you don't get the hormonal benefits. A lot of people forget that. They treat us like we're a combustion engine. We're not. We're a hormone biomechanical machine, bioelectrical machine. We have so many processes going, enzymatic processes, hormonal processes. Yes, we do have combustion processes that go on, but we're not just a combustion engine. Okay? So just keep this in mind. Our bodies are designed to fast. They're well designed to be in scarcity. Not to starve, so don't pick and eat little almonds and stuff during the day, trying to eliminate and be all keto about it or whatever. If you're going to pick a day to burn fat or get rid of the glycogen stores in your liver so you can get to the fat burning, don't eat. Okay, of course. Whoops, my screen went down. Hope you still see me. Okay, here we go. Yeah, of course, consult your physician. Your physician may not be familiar with fasting strategies. I'm sorry. But again, everyone's physiology is different. I've not run across anybody yet that could not do fasting. Okay? I've not run across anybody yet who cannot digest meat. There are people who've had their gallbladder removed that need to go easy with the fat because that gallbladder is reserved there to allow emulsification of fats coming through. So you just got to go a little easier. I get that question a lot. What about your hypothyroid? What about it? Quit eating. All your carbohydrates you've been eating all your life, you've pretty much destroyed your thyroid. So start eating a more human-based diet and let your body heal. Use fasting strategies. Dry fasting is a very aggressive but very good strategy for healing. Again, I just finished a 3-day dry fast. Why did I do it? I had chest congestion. I got sick. I haven't been sick in years, but I'm expanding my business. I haven't been sleeping at all, man. I've been crunching this stuff. Been traveling, training, learning new things, coming back, seeing patients, trying to get a little sleep here and there. And finally, I've been around everybody coughing and sneezing. Finally, I got something. Finally, I was like, wow, I cannot believe I actually got sick. But I was worn slap out, right? So instead of going 3 weeks with this stuff, which everybody's been going 3 weeks to 4 weeks, I said, I'm going to knock this out in a few days. So boom, and I did. So I feel great now and refed. I felt great the whole time, actually. I felt, you get a little hungry because your body's like, and I was coming right off Christmas too. So yeah, Christmas holidays. Oh, I was not in ketosis, I can tell you that. And of course, I didn't turn down all the wonderful treats people brought. I ate mostly meat, but it was about 50% carnivore, and the rest was crap, okay? And it wasn't because I craved it, because I don't have cravings anymore. It's because I wanted it. So, and what did I do? I fixed it with fasting. Period. Fixed my illness and my extra bloat and body weight with fasting. And I get back on my carnivorous diet, and I'll eat once to twice a day because that's what I want to do. I don't count macros. I don't count calories. I used to. It's good to have an idea of what you're eating, absolutely. And everything is good. What works for me based on principle can work for you. In other words, don't eat. You don't have to eat 6 meals a day or 3 meals a day. That doesn't work. Okay? That's passe. That's old stuff. If trainers are trying to exercise the crap out of you and do low calorie dieting with you, good luck. Keep in mind, when you fast, you don't lose muscle. Okay? How long can you fast? As long as you feel comfortable doing it. As long as you have enough fat on you to sustain yourself. Again, people with, I'm at 16.9% body fat. My goal is to get to 12. I'm not in a hurry, but I'm going to use fasting strategies and a carnivorous diet to do that. When I eat just straight out and I'm not doing anything, I just eat to satiety. I eat twice a day, and I'm probably eating about somewhere between 2 and 4 pounds of some type of meat, including eggs, maybe some hard cheese, a little bacon here and there, some fish, chicken, sure, pork, yeah. The go-to is red meat. No, it doesn't cause cancer. No, that's a bunch of crap. It's very, very healthy for you. It's a superfood, really. This is what we sustained ourselves on before modern processes came into play, agriculture and such. So when we go back to that way of eating, our genetics love it. But we're meant to touch on some things. You don't have to be fully restrictive. Again, look up hormesis, learn about it, but just know that it's okay to touch on things here and there. You don't have to be fully strict and go brag about it unless you are OCD and you just have to be strict. Okay, all right. So I think I've talked a long enough period of time. 20. I'm sorry, guys. Hope I'm not wasting your time, but I just wanted to catch up with you. I haven't posted a video in a while. I wanted to talk about 2019, some perspectives on diet, and what you can be doing, what you can be thinking about, what you can be looking into to help you achieve your best health ever. You don't need to eat as much as you think. In fact, most people only eat. Most successful, energetic, well-fed, low body fat, energetic people that are healthy eat really one time a day. I've got a lady in my clinic right now, one of my employees who just was not ready to do it. I just got to have my drinks, got to have my little foods, and she and her husband have a way, they eat a lot. Well, she had kind of gotten to a point, she's like, I'm I'm ready to make a change. And she did. And she started doing, I have a jumpstart program, a 21-day diet, 21 days on, 15 pounds off. It's basically I promise you, I'm going to say it right now, it's a wimpy way. It's a wussy way to ease into what works, because I'm working with people who are food addicted. Most of us are or have been, and if you're a ketogenic dieter already, you still might be addicted to your little keto treats you got to have. If you're snacking, you're food addicted. If you don't snack, if you're a carnivore type eater or a keto eater and you only eat once or twice a day, you're probably not that addicted. If you can fast easily, you're definitely not addicted. I can fast easily now. It's not hard at all. So, one meal a day. So if you're eating more than one meal a day, it's going to be really hard to lose weight. And those of you who are like, no matter what I do, I gain weight, you're eating too much. Simple as that. I'm sorry. I don't care what kind of hormone processes you got going on. Everybody's different. It might take you longer for your body to heal and start respond. You might be very insulin insensitive. Okay, those things have to repair. There's so many things that have to be repaired in your body, and everybody repairs at different levels. So that's where everybody says, well, I'm different than you, and I'm different. That's true. But the principles are the same. You're eating too much. Okay? You're eating too frequent. So have some fasting days. Consider that. Eat more of a low carbohydrate, no grain, no vegetable oil, no sugar type diet. You can eat tons of food that way. Carnivores never get bored with their diet because their body kind of craves that sustenance, which comes from red meat. You don't need science to back you up. There is good science out there now, but I don't necessarily subscribe to the concept of, I need long-term studies. There's no long-term randomized control trial on any diet. So even with the physicians and what my mainstream colleagues are saying out there, there's no studies that prove what they do works. No, there's a bunch of short-term randomized control studies on little small things and little epidemiological studies and whatnot. But there's nothing that shows anything really is great or works or doesn't work. It's just not very good. It's a bunch of hooey. It really is, and there's a lot of politics and a lot of ego. So I'm here to help you break through all that and just get to what works. Let's get back to basic human physiology. We're meant to fast and feast, right? And once your body gets back into that mode, it's fine. It does it easily. You don't miss other foods, and you can eat those things and then go right back to a healthier way of eating, and you'll be fine. Remember, hormesis. It's okay to touch on some toxins every now and then. It's okay to eat those plants that don't want to be eaten. Yeah, plants don't want to be eaten. Go look at it. It's really a basic principle in horticulture now. I mean, plants have tons of anti-nutrients in there and pesticides and whatnot. Their own naturally made pesticides keep themselves from being eaten. They don't want to be eaten, nor do animals, but animals can run. We can get them, Plants just produce toxins there, and you eat them, and you call them phytonutrients, and you think what you're doing is really good for you. Little do you know, you might even be reacting to that. That could be the reason you have seborrheic dermatitis or psoriasis or inflammation in your joints or some type of weird autoimmune disease. How are you going to know? Well, start the elimination process. Use fasting strategies or go carnivore. That's a great elimination diet right there. And then start reintroducing foods to see what you react to. This is really easy stuff, people, and you have to take the reins yourself. You have to take control. This is up to you. There are a lot of people out there like me running their mouth and trying to help spread the truth. And so feel free to follow me on my Instagram account at keto_carnivore Dr. Wade. And I post a lot of my pictures there and little tips on helping you. Of course, my website, we're changing. I've been expanding my business, so my website's going to be down for a little while, my company website. But you can find me also at drwade.com. I'll do some articles there occasionally and post some results. So I think it's important that you see results. I think it's important that you listen to people who have experience. Not these people in the background reading and espousing their science and their research. I've done all that. I've come from a plant-based background. I've never been a vegan, no. I've worked with many vegans and vegetarians, and I've used a plant-based approach in my life, and it didn't work very well at all. In fact, I got into the worst shape of my life, thinking I was eating clean. Yeah, I'm just going to eat clean. Kind of, listening to Blue Zones and, thinking that the China study was something real. When in fact, when I actually read it, I was like, wow, I'm at the doctorate level. You're trained to know good versus bad research. And I immediately recognized something's wrong here. I was all excited reading the book China Study. I'm all excited. And as I got into it, I'm like, wait a minute. Okay, where did they get this conclusion that milk is causing type 2 diabetes? Or dairy. Yeah, it was milk and dairy causing type 2 diabetes. And I'm like, wait, I went and read the actual research that they used, and I couldn't find how they were saying that. They were cherry picking the data. And I said, wait a minute, that's wrong. Wow, okay. And I read the next chapter, and I'm like, wait, this is wrong too. What's going on here? It was a propaganda piece. So that was my first introduction to politics in nutrition, I guess, or agendas in nutrition. I was slapped in the face with it. I really thought everybody was trying to be helpful, not push an agenda, and to vilify meat and to elevate plants and say we all need to be plant-based when our species has never been plant-based, never. So why all of a sudden do we need to be now? Why? I mean, look at what's happening to our disease rates as our beef consumption has gone down. Look at what happens look at our chronic disease rates. It's not the meat. The meat's not even there. Meat consumption has been going down for the last 3 decades. Plant consumption has been going up. Our disease rates have been going up. Okay, correlation, causation. All right, not a cause, but correlation's there. And so meat's not the problem. We know that. So we're finding now by experience, and if you go look at several sites, there are thousands of people thriving, and there are 20-year veterans, people that have been eating meat only for 20 years. They don't have disease or sickness or illness or chronic metabolic disorders or cardiac disease or cardiovascular disease or anything. They're healthy and they look 10 years younger than they actually are. Now you can't say that about a 10 or 20-year vegan. No, they age quite a bit. Go look at them. Oh yeah, go look them up. They're there. So veganism is a great elimination approach short term, but then you better start putting some animal protein or animal nutrition back into your diet, because that's the way we thrive. No cut against the vegans. They have their own beliefs, but I don't do beliefs. I do truth, because I practice and I actually have a license and I have to help people. So it's my job to decipher and discern and go through all this information, weed out the truth, and be able to decide on how to use it in an algorithmic way when I'm examining a patient and they do have a dietary concern or need. And that's most of my patients. Now, there are some patients that don't want dietary help, and I'm not going to give it to them. I'll drop hints and I'll plant seeds, but I'm not going to give them, by the way, here's what you need to do, if they're not going to be receptive to it. And for those of you in practice, you know what I mean. There are those patients that aren't going to receive your help, accept your help. They already have their way of doing things, and they let you know that really quick, and they only want you to help that one thing. That's it. And you're pinned down into not practicing holistically. You're practicing, more allopathically at that time. So I've talked long enough, guys. Hey, look, God bless you in your pursuit for better health. I hope some of my points and opinions here, which are points and opinions, yes, and I do back it by research as much as possible. But let's face it, the best research we have is our history as humans and why we're here and how we got here. Okay? We didn't get here by a bunch of plants. We didn't get here by a bunch of processed food. Canola oil is not good. It's never been something that we've been able to use to restore health. In fact, we got to get rid of it. Saturated fat is good. Our bodies like it. At best, it's neutral. It doesn't clog your arteries. No. Meat is good for you. It doesn't cause any kind of cancer. It only helps you thrive. It gives you strength. It gives you mental clarity. It gives you the necessary building blocks for your body. It also helps you heal. Fasting is good for you. True fasting, elimination. True fasting, not starvation. Fasting is not starvation. Fasting, you will maintain your muscle. Okay? And then how many times do you need to eat? 1 to 2 times a day. And you don't need to skimp on your meals. You need to eat to satiety, in my opinion. Okay? That's what's working for all of my clients. And I would not be still be in practice if what I was doing was not working. Okay? So I'm not saying what I'm doing is what you should do. Always consult your healthcare professional. Okay? Always consult your physician. And I like that because it does at least let them know that they have patients that are looking into non-mainstream, but yet truthful practices in improving their health. We are moving towards that type of a paradigm or that type of a practice, more of a wellness approach, more of a proactive approach, more of a preventative approach. But you got to follow the money, people. If people can't make money with it, hey, fasting is free. Telling people to eat a mostly ketogenic diet and only eat, every other day, you're going to save tons on your grocery bill and you're going to look amazing. You're going to be the healthiest you've ever been, right? Again, you're leaving money on the table, but it's on your table. It's not on theirs. So I want you to consider that. And anytime you see some kind of person pushing some controlled-based diet, look at where the money's going, okay? So fasting is free. Information is free. Eating less doesn't make anybody any money. It saves you money, and it makes you healthier. Are you food addicted? Probably. How do you break addiction? Suck it up, man. Suck it up. Grind it out. Go for it. Fast it off. 48 hours. Do it. And then refeed a ketogenic or low-carb diet, a low-carb meal. Fast again. Maybe another 24 hours, right? And drink a saltwater solution or an electrolyte solution. No sugar in it. Use either salt or potassium chloride or both. A very light amount in a good liter of water, say 1/4 teaspoon to a half teaspoon of salt. That's a great way to fast and keep yourself feeling good. Keep your electrolytes in, okay? If you want to dry fast and be aggressive, sure. That's an option. Make sure you are healthy enough to do that, and that does mean talking with your physician. If you are ill, if you are unhealthy, if you have a really serious disease, it's good to consult your physician. You may not agree with what they're saying, but you still need to do that. If you could be on a medication that if you try to dry fast on, it'll seriously cause harm. Okay? I love my colleagues. I love my physicians. They are very well trained in pathology. They're the highest trained in medication and delivering injections and surgery. That's what they do. And so as far as medication goes, your pharmacist can also help, but your physician knows you, right? Your family physician. So don't leave them out of the equation. All this physician bashing and mainstream medical practice bashing, they're still the highest trained, and we can be used. Some of us decide to take our intelligence there and reach out and grab the truth, really look for the truth, and practice with the truth. There are those that are kind of middle of the road, and there are those that are still old school. It's okay. They're very smart people, and they're your best ally. So I don't like all this physician bashing. No, I don't. They went to school a long time to get the knowledge that they did, sacrificed a lot. I did too. And so we're here. We still went with that grand principle of helping people. Yeah, we want to make money. Everybody does. We got to eat, right? Got to get I like ribeye. So heck yeah, what I do needs to work so I can buy that ribeye, man. Absolutely. And I want to feed my kids ribeye, and I want to feed my wife ribeye. Now she likes ribeye plus some things that I don't eat. I don't force things on my wife, and she's a good low carb, no grain dieter. Absolutely. My kids they're great. But kids will be kids. I don't want to be strict. Again, I agree with hormesis. I want them to grow up and have a strong immune system, so I love when they play in the dirt. Don't forget to play in the dirt, people. If I have any links below, make sure to hit them if I think that there's something that can help you there. I'm doing this video on the fly because I've had a lot of people saying, they've been asking a lot of questions, and I just decided to try to hit those points here off the mark. So great being with you tonight, today, this morning, whenever I'm catching you. Leave any comments below, ask any questions. Follow me on Instagram. That's where I interact mostly with people. And love you guys. Love you. Peace and prosperity and best of health to you. And wherever I'm catching you, we're going into 2019 here. So I hope you set a goal to achieve your most amazing health ever in that period of time, within that next year. In fact, if you really want to do it in the next month, boom, crush it and do it. Seriously. You can do it in a month. You can. You don't have to take a whole year to do it like I did when I first started out. I'm going to take this whole year, going from age 49 to 50, I'm going to get the best health of my life. And I did. I'm 51 now. And now I'm seeing how I could have done it in a month. Go figure. How? That comes later. Talk to you later, guys. Peace.